Hi everyone. Today I wanted to go through some quick tips I have for the MCAT, particularly pertaining to those who struggle with ADHD. ADHD is not simply an inability to focus well. It affects a lot of executive function, including the ability to process time, organization, and motivation. While this video is a lot of tips for ADHD, I believe that these tips could be helpful for anybody who is struggling to maintain motivation, they're struggling with procrastination and focusing, as these are common issues that a lot of people experience. So in no particular order, let's get into the tips. So number one, a dopamine detox. I know this sounds boring and awful, but so is the MCAT. The time I did the exam well in 2021, I had to remove all distractions. I often would start studying and then I would take a 5-minute break, and that break would turn into a 4-hour break. So I decided to take a bin full of my video games and anything else that was distracting me, and then give it to someone. And now for my phone, which is also a really big distraction, and it's not like you can just get rid of your phone, I deleted most apps that I was spending way too much time on. And then I also set I turned on the time usage and like the screen usage. And in addition to that, I reorganized my apps, the apps that I couldn't delete that I still spent time on. And so I put them in a way that was hard for me to get to. And finally, the only app that I had that was like front and center was my Anki Card app. And so I was like kind of forced to use it. By having everything exciting gone except for my studying resources, the only dopamine I could get was from studying. This sounds sad because, well, it is, but this exam sucks. It's the unfortunate reality to do well. But once I could see progress, I was able to feel lots of dopamine from studying, and I was able to build momentum to keep going. This worked so well, as it was also like a reward at the end of my studying to get my bin back full of all my favorite things. Now, number two, exercise. You might be thinking, with the dopamine detox, how am I supposed to de-stress? All of my de-stressing stuff is gone. It is important to have stress relievers. I think if you don't have a stress reliever, you will get burnt out. And, you know, I often compare studying for the MCAT like running a marathon. So if you run too much, you will get injured. Very much with the MCAT, if you study too much, your brain will become fried. So with the dopamine detox though, you can still do things to de-stress. And the best that I found for this is exercise. Exercise is also known to help those with ADHD quite a lot. So when I was studying, I started running a lot more seriously, and also biking. And while you don't need to necessarily run or bike, I think that as long as you find something that will work for you, should help you nail this exam. Now next, number three, life balance. While exercise is good and all, you still need to take breaks, and significant ones. I have seen many people getting burnt out when studying 7 days a week. And it's just like if you ran every day. If you run every day, you have a high chance of getting injured. If you were to study for 48 hours every single day, you have a high chance of getting your brain injured, and you will be forced to take many days to recover. Now, the secret I found was that I needed to take 1 day off a week, and that worked. It was surprising because in university I had tried to do this before, but there's something about the MCAT that makes it different, where by taking that 1 day off a week, it really helped me de-stress. And on that day off, I would usually do something social. And the only thing that I did on that day off was the next tip, which is Anki. So I would just do my review cards for Anki on those days off. So leading into number four, Anki Cards. I swear, Anki is the best study tool, especially for the MCAT. If you're unaware, it is a card-based system that uses the psychology of learning to help you remember everything you study. The basic layout is you make cards or you use a pre-made deck, which I strongly recommend the Miles Down Anki card deck, and then you study the new cards, you review the old cards that you are having trouble with or haven't seen in a while. So for example, a new card will be sorted according to how well you did on the card, and then if it was super easy, you won't see it for a few days. If it was difficult, you'll see it again tomorrow. And generally, the older the card gets, the more that you'll remember it, so then the less time between cards you'll have to take. And even better, it will suspend cards that simply aren't working, so you can save your time for other cards you will remember. With this method, I was able to remember all of the amino acids relatively easily, and many other high-yield concepts. And now I definitely recommend it for anyone, not just those with ADHD, as it seems many high scorers use Anki in addition to medical students. And there is a phone app that you can download too, which I loved because I could literally do my cards anywhere. And this also made other phone apps less distracting, as I could turn my phone from a distraction into a study tool. Now, number 5, my last point, tracking your hours. I love Excel spreadsheets. I can organize things easily, and it is fun to see all of like the columns and rows. I guess that makes me a bit of a nerd, but my last tip is you need to track your hours and seeing how much you are spending studying per day and per week. I was able to gauge how much I actually was studying, and so by the end of the week I could see like, oh, I didn't put that much effort in, or say I put a lot of effort in, I need to take a break. So this is especially pertinent to those with ADHD, I think, because those with ADHD often struggle with time blindness, and this is a reason why they're often late, because they just lost track of time, and so they basically just process time differently. And of course this varies in between individuals, but this does ring true for me at least. Now, more specifically with the time tracking, I would use a Pomodoro timer to see how much time I was spending per day. And with Pomodoro timers, if you're unaware, they have you study for 25 minutes and then you take a 5-minute break. And then you repeat that until you have a long break. This has been shown to work well with memory, as it gives your mind a break between study sessions. So for example, psychology shows that most of the time people will remember stuff that they learn at the beginning of a study session and at the end of a study session. So by breaking up your study session into bits, it will ensure that your studying does not just meld together into one continuous stream where you only remember the beginning and the end. Now, through my Excel spreadsheets in Pomodoro, I started studying about 20 hours a week, and then by the end, I was able to work up to studying 40 hours a week by the week of my exam. Of course, when your exam week comes by, do not forget to take the day before the exam off. Just like, running a marathon. You're not going to run a marathon the day before your marathon. Anyways, these quick tips are what worked best for me, and hopefully you find that this will help you. The dopamine detox was for sure the best tip, because I think my first time taking it that was the reason why I got a lower score, was because I had trouble keeping myself from getting distracted. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, as I will be covering more stuff with medicine, the MCAT, and ADHD. And I wish you success on your path to become a doctor.